handkerchief in his suit coat pocket. Patch ordered beers for himself and Meinkewitz. Kennedy spoke with a deliberate conviction he had always maintained his sense of humor with the press, but now he sounded serious.
Well, first I want to say that there will not be, under any conditions, be an intervention in Cuba by United States Armed Forces. And this government will do everything it possibly can, and I think it can meet its responsibilities to make sure that there are no Americans involved in any action inside Cuba. Secondly, the Justice Department's recent indictment of Mr. Masferrer in Florida on the grounds that he was plotting an invasion of Cuba from Florida in order to establish a Batista-like regime should indicate the feelings of this country towards those who wish to reestablish that kind of administration inside Cuba.
Patch, his eyes open wide, looked back toward the hotel. He had just met Masferrer out front. Masferrer was under indictment.
Just look inside of that Camp X, right, Patchy? Patch nodded but continued to watch Kennedy.
Third, we do not intend to take any action with respect to the property or other economic interests which American citizens formerly held in Cuba, other than formal and normal negotiations with a free and independent Cuba. The basic issue in Cuba is not one between the United States and Cuba. It is between the Cubans themselves. And I intend to see that we adhere to that principle.
LaRue leaned toward Patch. I hope you heard that very well, Patchy. Don't listen to that bullshit. I've been in and out of Cuba. Castro has jets, tanks, and well-armed troops. If Kennedy doesn't go all out, that brigade is screwed, I tell you. He needs to take the play away. Patch whispered to Meinkewitz as LaRue babbled with the other men at the bar. Ray, this isn't the way history goes. Meinkewitz took a gulp of beer and furrowed his brow as he looked up.
That same question, you said that, you pointed out that this government has indicted a pro-Batista Cuban, but I'm not clear from your answer, sir, whether this government will oppose any attempt to mount an offensive against Castro from this country.
If your phrase is to mount an offensive, as I understand it, I'd be opposed to mounting an offensive.
Barred by our own Neutrality Act or by the OAS Treaty from giving any aid or arms to anti-Castro elements in this country?
Well, there are, of course, as I've stated, there is a revolutionary committee here, which is, of course, extremely anxious to see a change in government in that country. I'm sure that they're very interested in associating with all those who feel the same way. Mr. Castro enjoyed some support here in the United States and received some assistance when he was attempting to carry out his revolution. In fact, some Americans were involved in the military actions with him. That latter is what we're particularly anxious to.
Patch sipped the cold beer and continued to speak in a low voice. I hope they're not setting us up, Ray. You mean get dumped into Cuba and then there's no landing? You told me history was different, said Meinkewitz. You bet your ass it was different. Castro and Kennedy talked peace. There was no landing or invasion. This could be one big screw-up, said Meinkewitz. Yeah, with us going right into the meat grinder.
Chapter 27.
Florida Transport Warehouse, Miami, Florida, Sunday, April 16th, 1961, 9:16 p.m. Before Jack LaRue left the Fontainebleau early Saturday night, he informed Meinkewitz a transportation union official named Will Donovan would drive Patch and Meinkewitz in a black Cadillac to the loading dock south of Miami. The fat-faced Donovan had a missing tooth and a few strands of brown hair combed straight back. He did not say much during the trip under the highway lights, nor would he answer any questions. They approached a prodigious white warehouse with a constant flow of 18-wheelers to and from the numerous docking bays. Patch feared they were about to be executed when Donovan drove around the dark side of the building. Donovan stepped in front of a side dock illuminated by one street lamp. Get out. This place is deserted, said Meinkewitz. Why are we here? Look, buddy, he said, dragging a pistol from his tweed suit coat. You just do what you're told. Meinkewitz looked at Patch and then popped the door handle. Patch followed him outside. The Cadillac tire spun quickly in the dirt along the building. The taillights brightened and it disappeared around the far corner. The dock door hummed upward before Patch could say anything.
The wavy-haired Ed Hamilton and the intense-eyed Spence Turtling were in military fatigues and held M1 Thompson.
Come this way. Patch followed Meinkewitz up the stairs. Well, where are we headed? To a little resort island in the Caribbean.
Turtling spoke first.
They stepped inside a stock area with towering stacks loaded with boxes extending into the warehouse.
Why here, Ed?
Asked Meinkewitz as they walked down one of the rows.
Turtling laughed.
You have a prime mission. Perform what you have to do for Mr. Rosselli and the others. Ship out of here in 6 hours, boys. Prepare to meet your maker. Florida Transport Warehouse, Miami, Florida, Monday, April 17th, 1961, 2:36 a.m. In the fluorescent-lit lunchroom, Patch and Meinkewitz, both in combat fatigues, drank the remainder of the bitter coffee. Backpacks stuffed with supplies and armaments lay against the wall near the doors and lockers. Patch looked up from his coffee mug. What are you going to ask Higgins? I don't know, Patch. Besides the obvious fact that he went over to the Reds, I want to know just what his proficiency is at this point. And they're going to want to know why he did it. Who contacted him, all that fine stuff. I dare say your job will be a tad more difficult. Well, I'm sure having one of the intercept soldiers along with us will help. What do you think they'll send?
I would say Bart Vanderborn. He's the most competent, or maybe his buddy Will. Hamilton stuck his head inside the doorway.
You boys outside, we're almost ready to go. Patch nodded and raised his coffee mug. To 1986. 1986, Meinkewitz answered, and they clanged the cups together. He handed Meinkewitz one of the packs and then strapped the other over his shoulders. Then they started out under the huge warehouse stacks. What I worry about, Ray, is blowing this. I have to kill Carlos Sánchez. But this whole invasion could mean one or both of us are killed. I know that. And what about Korbinski? I'm just not sure anymore. If I get retrograded back or I'm killed, you have to continue. Over a month out of Sector 13 is pushing retrograde. It's a crapshoot, Ray. A damn crapshoot. What's this? Patch gazed down the long warehouse aisle to the dock. Outside, a tiny plane painted in green and brown combat colors had landed in the long parking lot area. Harold Easterly stood with Savage by the plane. Oh, damn, somebody's idea of a bad joke. Patch nodded and stomped up to Savage. What the hell are you doing here? Savage grinned. Ready for a little trip into paradise, Kincaid? Again, what are you doing here? I'm your babysitter. Patch tightened his fist. I'm not going anywhere with you. What's the problem? Problem is that I'll kill him before we even get to Cuba, said Patch. This joker is responsible for beating the living crap out of me. Listen, Captain, this is a war. You just do your job and we'll settle the rest later.
Patch stared into Turtling's cold, unmoving eyes, and then he glared at the smirking Savage.
He's right, Patch, said Meinkewitz. The Cubans focused on Patch and he faced Savage. How do I know you know where Carlos Sánchez is? Because he's asked me to defect to the USA, Kincaid. I have the latest intel right here. I know where Sánchez will be. Now get your ass in the plane.
It's getting late,
said Easterly, looking at his watch. May God be with you,
said Turtling, and then each of the Cubans shook his hand. One of them blessed himself.
I wouldn't wish that on God,
said Easterly, opening the side door.
Patch climbed inside.
Sit anywhere.
Patch wiggled into a seat near the far window. He removed his pack. Meinkewitz sat in the seat next to him. One of the Cubans rushed up to the door and handed Easterly a sealed white envelope. Savage secured the outside door. He followed Easterly up front and pulled the forward vinyl curtain back in place. Why that pinhead Savage? Asked Patch. I'll shoot him myself. No, Patch, said Meinkewitz. He's nuts. We need someone who's nuts. At that moment, Savage flung the curtain back and stomped down the aisle. The plane taxied around the back of the parking lot. Buckle those belts or you'll bang the hell out of your heads. Then he sat in one of the adjacent seats, but did not bother to buckle his own belt. Having you here is like having a monkey out of the cage, said Patch. I'll overlook that pissant remark. They're paying me big money to get rid of Castro. Oh. Don't ask too many questions, Professor. You might just get answers you don't want. Who knows about this? Shut up. Savage studied a black briefing book as the plane gained speed and sped down the lot. He still had not buckled the seatbelt, even as the plane skimmed the telephone wires over the main road. Streetlights highlighted the warehouse and trucks below. He can fly out of anywhere, Ray. Over the Caribbean, Monday, April 17, 1961, 4:17 a.m. Easterly remained behind the curtain as the tiny plane moved through the air currents. In the incandescent light, Savage pointed a tiny silver flashlight at a map of Cuba in the briefing book. He dragged his index finger along the upper Cuban coast. Havana is here, on the northern part of the island. Carlos, according to intelligence sources, has been in Havana for the past month. They granted him leave and he traveled 122 miles to Buenaventura. Well, what the hell is that? Castro's trying to build his own little Coney Island or Disneyland. The whole area is filled with half-completed resorts. They can't do anything right. Carlos is on leave at this Buenaventura to party with a bunch of military personnel from Havana. Show me where we're landing, said Patch, holding the side of the book. Savage pushed his index finger along the shore to the Zapata swamp area. First we hike it, south of Covadonga, and then shadow the road to San Blas. We should be able to locate Sanchez easily. It says Giron? Asked Meinkewitz. Too far, Professor. Carlos will be leaving a party at Buenaventura Sunday night. There's a group of resort cottages set back from Blue Beach. On the way to the shore, we stay in the background and work our way along the Zapata swamp to the beach. How do you know all this? Shut up. As the plane buzzed along, Patch grabbed his chin. You're gonna play it straight with me, Savage. How much are they paying you? $100,000 for the prick. Patch looked over at Meinkewitz. And what about me? Where are my orders? You just report to Commander Orca, 2nd Battalion. Then you can push on to Havana. When you get to Havana, you find Higgins. And where perchance is the 2nd Battalion? Asked Patch, growing increasingly angry. You're not in charge, Kincaid, said Savage, looking up from the map. Patch grabbed Savage by the shirt. The crazy sergeant swung at him, but Patch connected several times, sending Savage to the floor. Then he held out his weapon. I'll use it. They're at Playa Largo, Red Beach. Meinkewitz studied the map. 2nd Battalion has to be 20 miles from Blue Beach. Well, that's stupid. Doesn't matter how stupid you think it is, said Savage, rubbing his chin. What's the status of this invasion now? Demanded Patch as he grabbed the map. Savage had more of an accommodating demeanor since being knocked to the floor. This is a new landing site 90 miles west of Trinidad. Beachhead's red, blue, and green beach will be defended by blocking all 3 major roads. Red Beach is at Playa Largo, said Meinkewitz, leaning over the book. Blue Beach at Playa Giron. Savage shook his head. Blue will have a trailer for the brigade headquarters. A supply depot will be set up at the resort houses where Sanchez is supposed to be after he leaves Buenaventura. And the brigade hospital will be over there. The 3rd Battalion will be at Green. Am I wrong about the 1st Battalion being dropped on the road to Grand Hagari? That road is 17 miles and 5 miles through the Zapata swamp. They'll be dropped at the Playa Giron Road to San Blas where the road forks. Right where we're being unloaded. 17 miles, 5 miles through the damn Zapata swamp. Come on, Savage. What's to prevent our own guys from killing us? We're landing south of Covadonga. We won't be on that main road to Blue Beach. Patch just shook his head. I wish I had some input in this. And what would you do different, Hotshot? Parachute in with them? You're going after Sanchez. This is a classified mission. We're heading with Meinkewitz to Playa Largo after we start advancing to Havana. That's 120 goddamn miles, said Meinkewitz. What else? Asked Patch as he sat back in the seat. There's boats in the harbors. We have 2 M41 tanks, 75mm rifles, mortars, and B-26 with phony Cuban markings that will stop any Castro advance. There'll be non-U.S. airstrikes this morning and on day 2. Let's not worry about all that. We take out Sanchez, then we head to Commander Orca at Playa Largo. Pat hit Savage's arm. How do you know where Castro is?